Hey, what's up? This is Ben with WODprep, and I am here with Coach Gary, and today we are going to help you improve your front rack mobility. So if you're someone who struggles to get your elbows up into that front rack position, maybe you feel like you're always leaning forward, your elbows are always pointing down in the clean, today's video is going to give you a couple of key pointers on how to fix it. But really quick, if you are working on your shoulder mobility in general, we have a free shoulder mobility guide for you. Go to wodprep.com/shoulders and you can download the ultimate guide to shoulder mobility. So let's get started. Gary, what is the first drill that they need to practice to get better with their front rack?
All right, so the first move we're gonna do today is your dumbbell overhead squat. So one thing we have to think about in that front rack is that a lot of us are stuck in that desk position. We're a little bit more rounded. So this dumbbell overhead squat is going to unlock your T-spine. We're gonna get some good extension, and it's going to be a very dynamic movement for your front squat. So in this movement, what you're gonna do, you're gonna prop your feet up on some type of elevation. We're using two 10-pound plates for this one. Then you're gonna get a light dumbbell. It does not have to be too heavy. We're gonna take it up overhead, prop our heels up on that elevation, and what that is going to do is if you're somebody who lacks ankle mobility, it's going to cut that out of the equation. So we're really going to isolate and put a big demand on that thoracic spine to open up with each and every overhead squat. So you'll go ahead, you're gonna do 2 sets of 10, warm it up, each rep, light dumbbell, super simple, super easy.
So this one, I really like it because basically what we're doing is we're activating those middle back muscles, the T-spine like he's talking about. A lot of times when we're doing a front squat, when we have a weak upper back, what happens? We tend to lean forward, right?
Tend to lean forward. We like to load up the wrists more than we should instead of allowing it to rest on that nice shoulder shelf that we want to create in that nice extended position.
So this drill is going to help keep you more upright and get that T-spine in a nice strong position, AKA we're going to be able to get more upright in the front squat.
All right, movement number 2 is our shoulder flexion laying on the foam roller. So you're gonna need a PVC and a lightweight to add to that PVC. It can be 2.5 pounds, 5 pounds. I probably would not go much heavier than that. But what you will do is you will lay supine on that foam roller. You're going to have your head all the way down to your tailbone in contact. And all we're going to do is take that PVC up overhead with the weight. So we're working on shoulder flexion. So what's gonna happen is that foam roller is going to lock your midline in place. So a lot of us, when we're trying to get shoulder flexion, we raise up, we lift up our rib cage to get that shoulder flexion. So this is going to isolate the shoulders because in the front rack, there's 2 things that are going on that are very limiting factors, particularly in that shoulder joint. That is shoulder flexion and external rotation. So we are going to lock down the trunk and then isolate that shoulder flexion with that PVC. So this is going to demand those shoulders, going to force them to open up, get really good shoulder flexion, and you will not be able to cheat and compensate by overextending in that midline.
So that's really interesting. Oftentimes when we think front rack position, it's like, oh, we need to just train the front rack position, front rack banded stretch, front rack stretches like this. But he's saying shoulder flexion plays a really big role into this. So we're not doing push jerks here. We're talking about the front rack, but still making sure that we can open up our shoulders this way will enhance our front rack ability.
Across the board.
Okay. So how many reps and sets should we be doing for this?
So for this, you're gonna do 2 sets of 8 to 10 reps. What you have to think about with each and every rep is as you go overhead, we need very straight elbows. And when you're at end range, I want you to let out a very big exhale. When we're overhead, exhale everything out. So that's going to pull the ribs down, get that lower spine nice and flat on that PVC. So it is going to really, really demand the shoulders to get true shoulder flexion. It's going to separate our rib cage motion from the scapular motion, and it's going to help unlock that true shoulder flexion.
So keep the ribs down. You can see here in the video, we've shown you good and bad versions of this. Be really cognizant to keep that spine on the foam roller, and that's why it's really important that you have that long foam roller to help cue your back to stay nice and flat. All right, we got one more drill that we want you to practice to improve your front squat. What is it, Gary?
It is our PVC external rotation. So we've cleared up 2 things. We've got some really good thoracic extension, some active thoracic extension, not passive. Then we also got some very good shoulder flexion. The last thing we have to think about is creating that external rotation. One cue we always use with our athletes is think about showing your elbow pit to the ceiling. Well, if we can't get that hand out wider then our upper arm, we're going to be locked in that T-Rex front squat position. So this drill is going to allow us to create some really good external rotation in that front rack position. It's going to look exactly like the front rack position. So we're going to use that PVC to create essentially like an arm bar, if you will, force our arm into external rotation, which is going to allow you to get that wrist out wider than your elbows for that front rack position.
That's really interesting. So you're saying that as I line up to the camera here, a lot of people have a tendency to get stuck in this position. And one thing that they can do to help get into a better front rack position, not get stuck in this T-Rex arm position, is to work on their external rotation, getting their hands slightly outside their shoulders.
Exactly, outside the shoulders and thinking elbow pits to the ceiling. So that is going to force you to think, drive, show me your elbow pit, so it's going to force external rotation with flexion at the same time when we scoop up into that bar.
Okay. And as you can see, as he's demonstrating here, we're moving in and out of that motion. How many reps per side should we be doing?
Again, 2 sets, 8 to 10, just go in, pull, crank, not too hard. We do not want to feel any pain or anything. We just go into that tension, that limiting factor, and then we go right back out.
So reach your limit and then come back out, and we're going in and out. Yep. Teaching your body, rewiring your brain to teach your body that it's okay to get into that position.
And always remember, we want to make sure we're doing it like we're in the front rack. We want those elbows facing forward. Don't have the elbow flaring out to the side. Keep it out in front so it's really mimicking that front rack position that we really need to obtain.
Perfect. So I hope that you like this video. You have 3 drills that you can implement right away into your training to help improve your front rack mobility. Really quick, if you haven't yet, make sure you go to WODprep.com/shoulders to get the ultimate guide to shoulder mobility that Gary and I have put together for you, and it's totally free. Last but not least, the question of the day: what is your dream vacation? Gary, what's your dream vacation? Where do you want to go? Japan. He wants to go to Japan because I asked him this earlier today. He's just blanking out on camera. Yep. He wants to go to Japan to visit me while I'm still there. For me, exactly. I don't have a dream destination. I've gone everywhere so far that I want. Maybe Denver, Colorado. That would be a dream destination. So, where do you want to go? Thumbs up if you liked the video. Thumbs down if you didn't. Click subscribe so you don't miss any more of our videos. Peace.